good. Yeah, I was just checking just in case to make sure it's in tune.
Okay. Everything's in frame. All right.
We're back.
Okay. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Canadian Talk. This is episode 86. And we're here with the guy that everybody wants to choke out at any campfire that you've ever been to. The guy who's amazing with instruments. My new friend, Brian Paul DiGiuseppe. Is it DiGiuseppe in the middle of Paul, or is it like, what's the order of those four names?
Paul is the middle name.
Middle name. Okay. Yeah. So we're here today because I want to interview him. I've listened to some of your music, and I think it's just incredible. In the Pines. Is that what that one's called?
Yeah, I noticed you.
That was that one. We were doing a little listen on one of the episodes, and that is such an incredible song. Mm-hmm. And then some of your other songs as well. I noticed like around like a minute and a half in, just some of the lines will start being so damn good. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like I'm listening to Bob Dylan. You know?
Yeah, he was definitely a big influence.
He was a big influence. So what are some of your other influences?
Ooh,
but yeah, thank you for coming on the show, and everybody welcome, Brian Paul.
Yeah, no, I've never been choked at a campfire, and I hope it never happens. I hope that's only your imagination. Yeah.
Oh, it definitely has been many times. The dude with the guitar.
I'm okay to let that one go and just let you have that.
Yeah,
I don't want that to happen to you either, though.
I always tell myself, the girls who go over to that guy, you don't want them anyway. All those girls over there who are with that guitar guy, you don't want them anyway.
Well, you know,
but I do want them. Please go subscribe to our YouTube page, Canadian Talk with Stephan podcast. We need you down there. Also, we have a website, Stephanjackson.ca, where you'll find the audio versions. As well, you can email us if you got a question or anything you want to see us talk about. CanadianTalkWithStephan@gmail.com. Is this what you're...
No, I got a pipe. It's
a pipe, but you put tobacco and weed in it at the same time.
No, and there's no actually marijuana in there. There's herbs. Yeah, it was actually a revelation on comedy. That's why I thought it would fit in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not weed. It is like a CBD like type, one of those fake weed type things.
No.
That they freaking try to push you on the Las Vegas Strip. Or?
No, you know how you can have tea. And they say, oh, it's good to have chamomile to calm your herbs, calm your nerves, yeah. Right? So, you're actually delivering the herbs through smoke. Like, there's old techniques of medicine where you actually inhale the smoke for a different delivery of the medicinal.
Like from smoking things, like just random other things that work for tea, like chamomile. You smoked chamomile?
No. Okay. So what I brought, I mean, you can though. So the mix I have has peppermint in it. It's a smokable herb. There's I tried to study it a bit. I actually have a good friend who showed me how to do this, and did it first. So she's stronger and more courageous than I am, right?
Make them do it first. Always make them do it first.
She actually had done it before we met, so
gotcha,
it was like she was.
Sorry to interrupt, but
no, that's okay.
Because you are anti-drug, right? Is that the idea?
Where did you get that?
I didn't. Okay, I was watching.
I don't have an anti-drug shirt like you have a Rogan shirt,
I thought I was watching one of your YouTubes, and I thought you were a little bit, but to you,
I know what you mean. That intro
and stuff isn't necessarily something that you voice.
Oh, against. I'm okay with anything.
But other things.
I believe in freedom.
I'm hugely anti-drug, so don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that like marijuana is not one of your things you volley against.
I don't rally against anything, man.
Okay, so tell me, what do you mean?
But I do learn from what I choose and try to adjust my behavior and choices accordingly, right? But I don't, I know how stubborn I've been in terms of learning how stuff, here, while we're talking about that, I'll turn off my phone so I'm not being rude like that.
Okay.
I learned things best by experience. I imagine a lot of people do.
Yeah, really, how old do you mind? Like, I know a lot of artists I've talked to. They don't like talking about their age.
Yeah.
Are you an old man?
I got gray hairs, a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you? Like, how old are you?
I was born in 1978.
78.
Yeah.
Right? So that would make you in the mid 40s.
45.
So you're like 33% older than me. It's like you've lived kind of one third more life than me.
Huh? So what year were you born?
You could talk to me from the future in a sense. I was born in 92. So
okay.
You've got 13, 14 years on.
Okay. Wow. Cool.
So, yeah.
Huh. Which month?
July 9th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a Cancer, they say.
Yeah.
So I'm a Scorpio. Actually, right, the last day of Scorpio before Sagittarius, November 20th. So it's a cusp thing, right? But they say Cancers and Scorpios are supposed to get along. So maybe we're
good.
just meant to be longtime friends. You know?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Get you to do my. Oh man, yeah, maybe, dude. I'll tell you, I've been getting into making more friends. Like when I was younger, I used to not be a very friendly guy,
Yeah.
and I've been trying to get more into that. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, personally, like, did you play any sports growing up?
Yeah, I swam and I played tennis actually.
Tennis, eh?
And then I did get into, when I was got into my sort of mid to late teens, I got into soccer, and I played shinny. I played a lot of like just pickup hockey. I grew up in Ontario.
Mm.
Yeah.
Did you have good hands?
Yeah,
I feel like you'd be the guy out there.
I was the smooth dude. You know, I wasn't the big hitting like tough guy, right? Like obviously, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm sort of
Well,
slender.
not in shinny. Usually, you're not hitting in shinny.
Well, no, right? But
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, I would say like just kind of like overall awareness of the game and like a little bit of like clever finesse was sort of the way I was good at sports, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So,
But you were gonna say about not getting along with people, is it?
Yeah. So, like, I found that growing up for me, like, sports were a good thing. They gave me a good, like, work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it came to, like, my interpersonal skills, I feel like it did a negative.
What kind of sports did you play?
I played hockey
Okay.
through and through. Like,
Okay.
since I was very little.
Okay.
And, you know, hockey, if you really think, it's funny, you get old and you look back on the sports that you played, and you're like, I was in a freaking gladiator ring. Like, my parents put me in a freaking chicken fighting league,
Yeah.
and we're just like, go get them.
Yeah.
Like, that's what, when you look back on sports, sometimes it kind of feels like that, don't you think? Like, maybe not so much soccer, but in a
Well, you know, if major influences on my path was getting into philosophy and psychology, and also sociology. Like, and that's kind of how I got into being an artist or whatever, right?
Cool. So are we talking like retroactive learning here, or like, did you have any education?
I did study at university I got a what's it called? PhD.
PhD?
No. So okay, there's a few open topics here. Let me close a few of them up. So
Okay.
I meant to say, what's it called? A Bachelor of Arts or what? A BA,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So I did that in 4 years at Western University in Ontario with philosophy. I was gonna study psychology.
Why do they call it Western University when it's in the fucking east?
Yeah, it's because it's the Toronto centered
Western of
in
Toronto?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
you know,
sorry,
yeah,
sorry, please
yeah.
continue,
It's
okay.
you know, did you see that movie I Hate Toronto? There was a documentary and
No, I didn't
oh,
see
it
that.
came out like 2007. You know, like it's the self-centered, you know,
And that's where
idea.
you're from, is Toronto.
I was born at St. Michael's Hospital in Toronto. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my parents moved to Canada from Italy, so both my parents were born in Italy.
Very cool. Yeah, you're hardcore Italian, hey? Yeah, when I learned out what the G, I was watching some of your YouTube and I learned out what the DG stand for.
Yeah.
Do you publicize it or no?
Oh, that's okay. It's
Okay,
just
I was like, Di Giuseppe. I was like, holy, that's cool. Like,
Yeah.
What is it? Sorry, it's Di Giuseppe. What is it?
yeah, you got it.
Day or?
Di Giuseppe.
Okay.
Would be how Italians would say it.
Yeah.
It means of Joseph, right?
Okay.
So D in all Latin languages, like you see that a lot in Latin names, and then Giuseppe is Joseph.
Gotcha.
So-
Gotcha.
That's what that means.
So do you identify much with your culture? Like, are you kind of an ethnicist? Do you like to identify as being Italian and with your culture, pasta, all that kind of stuff, or are you more of like or are you more of like a Canadian where it's like multicultural?
Well, I want to take, like, I have to tell you right now, everything you're asking me, I'm holding like 3 of the unanswered questions in my mind right now. And
I might be coming at you too fast.
No,
I
that's
apologize
okay.
for that. We can also take a
it's
quick
like
break.
No, it's no problem. It's all good. I trust the flow and stuff, right? But I like there's so many details I feel like I could get into to properly answer your questions. But I'll try to be kind of quicker because it's kind of it's fun to just have a fast flow sometimes too, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, like in terms. Well, here I'll try to catch up with. So I studied philosophy and psychology personally. And in a sense, I always studied a lot more on my own and through my own experience. But that sort of took me to Like I would say when I was growing up till I was about, like I would say from about 18 to my mid 20s, I went through a huge experience of like just everything that I thought was real, just kind of breaking down into more and more levels of mystery and like who am I and why do I feel and think how I do and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so from that, it's like, okay, I had the part of me that was born into a family story and how I grew up, and then just kind of this bigger realization of who I am, and so then I would say parallel with that was where my whole sense of identity started changing a lot from like I'm Italian or where it's like I'm a human and like I'm in like these kind of bigger pictures of this story, especially because of deep contemplation about who am I and how do I think and feel and stuff. Mostly because I kind of started getting like uncomfortable, suffering like
Traumas.
Experiences.
Sure.
Not-
Traumas will make you second guess kind of what you feel about reality, for sure.
Yeah,
Well,
and they can be subtle too, even.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have to say I've had a very easy life.
Yeah,
But
me
like,
too.
I have
Yeah.
to say the biggest traumas I've experienced, I would have to say have been like in like relationships would probably be, but like I said, I'm very lucky. Like people have to go through crazy stuff. Like recently I lost a cat.
Right. I saw that your video. I was watching that.
But
yeah.
other than that, I mean, I haven't really experienced too much, but I don't know. Girls have fucked me up quite a bit. Like, yeah, relationships and girls. Yeah, they fucked me up pretty good.
Where's your producer? I
know, yeah, she's not here today, sorry.
Is
but,
everything going
she's
okay
the
with
best.
her?
Yeah, she's the
Oh,
best.
that's good.
She's funny, she's the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, I told her to take a hike for today. I didn't want you to feel uncomfortable or
It's
anything.
the boys' club.
It's-
Well,
yeah, it's
I
the
grew
boys'
up.
club.
I had two sisters.
Cool, hey.
I
I grew up with, I got you outnumbered, I think. I grew up with one sister, but I had two moms.
Oh, really?
Did you have a mom and a dad?
They're both still alive.
And they're both still alive. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. Sorry, continue.
Well, now you got me all interested. How do you
Got
have
two
two
sisters?
moms?
Yeah, I've got two moms, yeah.
How'd that happen?
Oh, man.
Like,
so
did
it
you-
wasn't like a thing where, I actually have a friend who was like, had a regular mom and dad, and then as he was growing up, his mom was like, oh, we're going to get a divorce and become lesbian. Mine was different. It was right from the source.
Wow.
Like, I was my parents tell me that I was one of the first sperm donor applicants that was accepted in this region in Saskatchewan. Not very many people were
Wow.
doing it because it's a conservative area.
Right.
And yeah, in '92 they went to the sperm donor people like, hey, let's get a kid,
Huh.
and they made me.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Amazing.
Sperm donors, two parents, they're still together. They've been together for like 35 years.
Oh, that's
Two
beautiful.
ladies. So
Huh.
when they get a divorce next year, that'll be.
No.
No, I think they're doing good. I have a joke where I talk about that. I think that they're faking it, but I love however you can get it right. At the end of the day, is good, whether it's straight or.
Yeah, I think so, man. Like that's the whole thing to me. It's like all this talk about what's this and what's that. It's like if you're doing something that actually builds the functionality and the joy of your love, who can tell you anything about how that's not correct? If that's the result, I think something's got to be happening correctly,
I agree.
And then, and I think it's like there's nothing, in my opinion, in so many regards, there's no answer, like if you're a politician or if you're a lesbian or if you're this or that. There's no answer where that's it, right? It's more about how are you doing it, you know?
Yeah, day to day. You got to take it day by day.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right.
With wood out of a case. Very cool. Depends. Some hold their tuning differently, better.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool stuff. It's definitely different, and music and comedy are so different. Like you've got to deal with all that technical stuff. I don't really even know what the challenges are of comedy. Sometimes I try to think about that, like what I'm even fighting against, really. Because you got to get people to laugh, right? But I'm not really sure. Are nerves, like, is a bad sounding string the same as like nerves? Because nerves are what the primary thing is that gets in the way of the vibration you're trying to put out with the words you say. Nerves get in the way of that. They make you not be able to find the words. They make you, and so on and so forth. That's what I think.
Huh. I got theories about that. Like I would say that art and I don't know. It's definitely gets esoteric and philosophical. and abstract, but the like the art and the science of a laugh, of joy, even right?
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
You know what's so interesting about laughter is that like people can't stop themselves from doing it. Like, and it's literally like a whole body convulsion, and a person can't control that. And like, because there's not really anything else that gets you that result, other than what, sex. I mean, like that's what's so interesting about laughter. The interesting thing too is like sometimes you'll say something that's against somebody's values, and they'll laugh accidentally. That's what I like about it, because I feel like laughter is truth. You know, that's the.
I agree. Like, and the my partner right now, has these outdoor adventure programs, she calls them. She doesn't even want to call it education anymore, because it's just like, it is education, but it's like naturally arising learning by doing, by just being in nature. For sure. And having space.
Yeah.
But they got, I don't know if I was telling you this in our last conversation, but she showed this stat to me. 25 times to 40 times faster someone will learn something when they're having fun. And so to me that means that you're aligned with the nature of yourself and reality more. And so your idea, like the truth, the honesty of comedy, being connected with maybe the honest experience of this idea that the you ever hear of Ram Dass?
I've heard the name, yeah. He's like, he's a spiritual guy, right? Isn't he?
He was a
He's a white guy.
Yeah.
I was funny because when I knew him back, I was like, that guy's probably Indian, something like that. Because I had the name, and then I was like, oh, he's a white guy.
Well, he was given that name in India by his guru called Neem Karoli Baba. So this guy ended up kind of hosting lots of people from North America that went there to get spiritual and all this. There's actually a funny story where they go there with some hippies showed up in the 60s and 70s, right? Some hippies show up with a bunch of acid, and they give like a big amount to the guru, right? And nothing even changes for him. That was one of the stories that Ram Dass told. So Ram Dass' name before that was Richard Alpert. He was a Harvard professor of psychology, involved with the LSD experiments when they were legal, right?
Oh, yeah. I like psychology professors. They're usually kind of my favorite. Although the other day I got a couple things to say that everything you were saying there. Although the other day I just ran into a girl. She was a psychology professor, PhD, and she contacted me up. She's like, "Hey, your podcast is really cool. I'm thinking I might want to come on it and all that." And I was like, "Oh, awesome!" Like PhD psychology. I looked into her. She had like I think 100,000 followers on some stuff, and then the next day, she's like, no, I can't do it. It's the nature of your content. I think there would be some problems. And I was like, what? By the way, her PhD was in interdisciplinary communication. So like she should be an expert in communicating. She should be an expert in understanding that you have to be entertaining to get people to listen. Once you strike that fun chord, people will learn that it'll hit their memory. And I was pissed about it. I'm not going to say her name, but like because I was kind of excited about the interview, but then I got rejected again. So, yeah, the weird part was that she came to me, and I was like, oh, this should be sweet, another professor.
That's funny.
And then she backed out.
That's funny.
I was like, what a flip-floppy lady for a psychology professor. Why is she flip-flopping?
Right.
That seems a little.
There's probably a name for that condition.
Yeah, maybe.
You should look in the mirror of that book of conditions.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
Well, so the Ram Dass was that name given to him, but when he was in the university doing the thing with LSD, there were 3 other main professors doing that with 3 other people that I know about that took interesting paths as a result of LSD being made illegal. So when LSD became illegal, Richard Alpert got more interested in how can I achieve the same sort of insights and states of consciousness and potential healing from that we were getting with LSD, but in a different way. So he looked into meditation mostly and then yoga and that kind of thing. people, mostly meditation
Good shit.
and the old teachings of the gurus and this kind of thing.
Wim Hof method. You heard of Wim Hof?
Oh yeah.
It works.
Well, okay.
Works.
The other guy, his name Stanislav Grof, and he got into, because he was working with LSD therapy too, and it was legal, and then it goes illegal. He goes, he discovered something called holotropic breathing, which is where someone can actually produce their own psychedelic experience with breathing. So that's maybe more similar to the Wim Hof.
That is what it is. Yeah. Very cool.
The third one, which is worth mentioning, is Timothy Leary.
Yep. Yeah.
So
I've heard of that.
He went the route.
Some people say that Manson was involved in this stuff too. You know?
Well, whatever. There's lots of theories
There's a
out
few
there.
different theories. Yeah, I've never touched the stuff. I mean, I've done mushrooms. You know, I like marijuana for what it does. But like, I think I'm too scared to do any of that other stuff, like LSD and stuff. But I understand that it could have some benefits. It could have some uses. You know.
Well, so what Timothy Leary did was he goes, "Fuck you, I'm doing whatever I want." He didn't stop using it, and he was kind of the rebel out of them, right?
Yeah, Rogan was talks about him.
And he wrote, like, he was an interesting writer. Some interesting books he had out and stuff. And but the reason I brought it up was one of the quote from Ram Dass or Richard Alpert. He goes, "We're all just God in drag." That's a this idea of, and so recently I was reminded of that quote by a fellow musician friend. His name's Tone Shifter, and he's got this music video called Illusions. I think it's called Illusion or Illusions, but it's a song, and it's great. And he said that line inspired that song, and it's a very funny music video. I think it's a great song, and it's really funny music video. And so again, but this idea like that everything's just some essence of reality having fun. No matter how crazy and traumatic and awful we think it is, it's all a part of a whole fun thing. And that's mostly what I try to do with writing songs, or like where I can just, how can I see more than myself in this situation? Now it's a part of a bigger joy that is actually not personal. But my personality is involved.
I really like that about your music, is that it's about nature, a lot of it, and it's about ideas and things. You know, it's not about you. It's not about like your fucking last relationship or whatever. Although sometimes you do talk about things like that. But like, it covers a lot of topics. Sometimes I get lost in it, like, because it is, each song can be so broad. But you know, they're reined in by the way you title them or whatever. But music is such an adventure like that.
Well, I think it's similar. Like it's a similar. Like I guess you were sort of wondering what the connection was, and I think there's a kind of like, because in a certain sense, there's nothing new under the sun kind of idea. So there's only a few, like, you know, there's 7 notes. There's 12 notes in a scale, and then they repeat themselves in octaves. There's not that much, and the same with paintings. Like there's a few colors. But then look at all the paintings, right? And then there's a few different kinds of laughs. But look at all the moments that feel like something always usually feels a little bit fresh about something that's funny, right? Even though you're still just laughing, and it's still sort of a similar like there's only a few things.
That's part of some of my, like, I love music, but that's part of my problems with it sometimes is I feel like I can't, like, I would be arrogant to think. For some reason with conversation I don't feel that arrogance. Where it's like, how could I think of anything that somebody else hasn't thought of? You know, but when it comes to music, I feel that tenfold. Where it's like, what kind of a do I think I am that I can play this better than Jimi Hendrix or whatever? It's part of what stopped me a lot with any types of pursuits like that. But
well,
not for you. It didn't stop you.
I learned by imitating a lot in my life.
Imitating is the way, hey?
Well, it's how you learn, right? Is look at a child and their parents, right? Here we are. It's Mother's Day.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day. We're both here.
I had a good chat with my mom today.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
Go visit mine after this.
I thought you might have been.
I don't know though. Just sitting here deciding if I could drive. Did you know that you're not supposed to take Tylenol after you've had a couple of beers?
Oh.
Did you know that? I just learned that today. I was like,
I mean, I can see why, because the liver stress.
Yeah.
Probably.
I went to go take a shit, and I was like, I saw some Reddit. I was like,
Oh,
is that
no.
is that the fucking the ink off of the Tylenol, or am I shitting blood here? And then I Google it, and they're like, do not take Tylenol after you've had beer, and I was like, I'm developing an ulcer.
Oh, wow. Well,
maybe not, probably not.
I had migraine headaches when I was growing up.
But there I am. I'm trying to tune into the vibration, take away the nerves. We'll just Tylenol, beer, LSD, whatever. Right?
Well, fearlessness,
I don't know how
living
you
with
perform.
your choices.
Yeah. I don't know how, like, it's because you perform regularly, right? What's your biggest crowd you've ever performed in front of?
I'm trying to think, like, geez, I've played so much, and I'm just trying to, like, the first few things that came to my head, I opened for Valdi last summer. You know Valdi?
I do not.
He's a Canadian singer-songwriter. He became pretty well known, and he's still going at it. And so my friend was putting on an event, and I opened for him. That was a lovely crowd. There's probably about 500-600 people in the Broadway Theater. I played at a boxing event once at the halftime show in the boxing ring up at the Prairieland, or what's that, the SaskTel Center or something, up at the North Battleford Road there. They keep changing the names.
Oh yeah,
Credit
TCU
Union,
Place.
Yeah, not TCU yet.
SaskTel Center.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be SaskTel Center. Yeah.
So I played in
Place is what we mostly call it. That's
Is it?
that's the unbranded name of that stadium, Sask Place.
Oh, okay, that's good to know, because the names switch and I just start forgetting like which one. Yeah, anyway, it wasn't too busy, but it was like a big stadium, and it was fun, man. Like the microphone came sliding down from the rooftop, and then me and my bandmate friend were just, and I felt like doing this boxer dance while I was playing and stuff. It was great.
That's awesome. So, to do with like music, for a second, let me just it's not meant to be too pessimistic of a question. Just a thought though, like a guy like Valdi, I don't know who he is, but to you he's a popular guy.
I actually didn't know that much about him before.
Okay, my point though is like musicians. There's a lot of musicians, because music is fun to play. Comedy isn't fun to do. Like,
really?
It can be once you get to the point, but it's pretty much torture up until.
Music's same thing.
You think, but I don't know if
Like,
playing
look at my
guitar
fingers.
is torture. Oh yeah, okay.
That was torture before there was calluses there.
Sure.
Right?
Okay, fair enough. So you got me already. But so like you've got all these musicians. Like, what do you think it is that keeps a person going when they realize that the world isn't accepting them the way that they think it would have, where things are taking longer than they would have expected? What keeps all these old musicians going?
I think it's just a pure self, like, producing joy, and in and of itself.
Yeah.
Regardless, I mean, obviously it feels like it resonates with the world better if you have a little bit of an audience, but that could even just be like one friend.
Yeah. So like, that's the way I've had to start to do it for my stuff. Me being like even smaller than you. Like, I've had to stop caring about who sees it and only care about what I'm making. It's weird, because at the end of the day, whether it be music or whether it be comedy, we are trying to turn our narcissism into something that's positive for others.
Yes.
Because in reality, I'm talking to you right now because I like talking to people. I'm not talking to you because I want people to watch me talking to you, but it's a positive byproduct that people are going to get to see you, people are going to get to hear me, and so on.
Yes. Yeah.
So
that's ideal. To me, that's the essence. Like, furthermore, I would say with comedy, because of what we were talking about, and with music, you are relating to something so much bigger than yourself.
Yeah, you're opening, when you do this,
So
you're opening yourself up to the universe.
Yeah.
And it starts sending stuff at you, and you just start catching it.
Yeah.
And you use your skills, whatever they be, with your hands or with your. That's why I like comedy, though. I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep making it about me and about comedy.
No, I love it.
We're here for music, by the way. This is Brian Paul DiGiuseppe, a talented artist, and we're happy to have him in the studio.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. I like comedy because I just like using that. I like developing that tool.
Yeah.
But I really do get the music thing too. I think just makes me feel too pretentious. Music makes me feel pretentious.
That's interesting. Huh. Yeah, I see no, like, I feel no separation. I've come to the point, I don't know, there's ideas that have been running in me for years now. Like, if you learn how to do one thing well, you know how to do everything well. It's kind of like comes from the Zen traditions, right?
For sure.
And it's kind of like, I feel like the more I practice and develop a relationship with one thing, or with myself, even you could say, then I know how to relate with others better, and I can empathize. The same qualities that make success or failure are always kind of like archetypally present.
For sure.
Everywhere, right?
For sure. Yeah. Exactly.
I saw I saw a clip of Jerry Seinfeld recently.
Okay.
And he's the
He says that actually. Yeah, he said something similar to that.
Yeah, maybe you saw this clip too.
I've seen everything with like comedians and stuff, especially Jerry. Yeah. Can I quickly tell you before you tell your story about what you saw? Can I tell you? You know what? I'm not. That's not the funniest joke ever. Just continue their story. I was going to tell you. Do you know what Jerry Seinfeld's favorite joke is? Have you heard this or not?
Tell me. I want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is Jerry Seinfeld's, if you can believe it, because he's such a popular comedian. It's funny when you get so into comedy. It's almost like you start to like anti-comedy. Like if you listen to Norm Macdonald, right? It's like Norm Macdonald went through that cycle and then came back again, and he was able to turn anti-comedy into comedy. When you hear some of his most famous stories, like his that are long and like. The moth story, the other one there, I forget the name of it. Jerry Seinfeld's favorite joke. Okay, so you have to preset it. So by the way, this is how it's supposed to be. I'm going to deliver it bad, but this is how it's supposed to be delivered. Okay. It's not about the way the joke's delivered. It's about the receiver. Okay.
Okay.
So this is a Jewish joke. This is about Jewish people. This joke. Jerry Seinfeld's favorite joke. You see, okay, so there's a Gentile businessman walking down the street. He looks over at another man on the street. Another Gentile businessman goes, "Hey, how's things? How's the business?" And the other Gentile businessman goes, "Great." That's the joke.
Okay.
Do you know what a Gentile is?
Well, remind me.
A Gentile is a non-Jewish person.
Right.
So essentially,
according to that Jewish tradition.
Yeah, I guess they wanted to name people who aren't them Gentiles. That's what it seems a little like. It's like that sounds like gentle. We're not all gentle, you're not the tough ones. World War II didn't bear that out.
Ooh.
So anyway, the joke is that they're saying that Jewish businessmen are the only good businessmen. So if two Gentiles are saying their businesses are being successful, they're lying.
Oh.
That's the joke.
Oh wow, I missed it, man.
Yeah.
I totally missed that.
But the idea is, why Jerry loves it is that you tell the joke and you can spot the fake laughers.
Oh.
Yes.
That's funny. Okay,
exactly.
So I passed the test.
Yes, you passed the test, and that you're actually listening and you're actually trying to get precisely.
Right. Well, honesty, right? Being honest.
Exactly.
Well, again, I think that's another principle that spans across all art forms. Honesty, right? Like, what makes a good song? It's honest. What makes a good comedian or a good joke? It's there's something true.
Vulnerability, yeah, and honesty.
Right? It kind of unclothes situations.
Why else would I tell a shit poop story? It's all about vulnerability. Please go subscribe to our YouTube page, Canadian Talk with Stephan podcast. We need you down there. Also, we have a website, Stephanjackson.ca, where you'll find the audio versions. As well, you can email us if you got a question or anything you want to see us talk about. CanadianTalkwithStephan@gmail.com.